city of Los Angeles, because in 2019, the city passed our first local anti-discrimination law. Essentially strengthens a lot of the already existing laws that we had. It gave us the ability to do a lot of the work here ourselves, whether it was issues of employment, housing, education, or commerce. We sent a strong message that the city would not allow this kind of treatment to our residents in the city. But that was also strengthened even more in 2020 when we created the Civil Rights Department that now had the ability to enforce many of these laws. And what we told people was that if you had any discrimination that was perceived on race, color, ethnicity, creed, genetic information, marital status, so many more things, that the city of Los Angeles would do something about it. And so thanks to the amazing team that was put together, headed up by the amazing Capri Maddox, they set this team up to do a lot of the good work. And so we've already noticing a very clear enforcement mechanism, and this enforcement should send a clear message to the unscrupulous actors in Los Angeles that we are ready to come after you and make sure that this city's commerce, education, employment, and housing are free of discrimination. In my district, we see clear examples of housing discrimination all the time, and we now finally have a tool to keep these landlords accountable. The Civil Rights Enforcement Unit is working on a number of different cases. So if you see anything that's happening, we ask you to please call 311 or go to the Civil Rights Department at lacivilrightsclaim.com to make sure that your voice is heard. But I do want to pass the mic to a person that deserves a lot of credit for why we're here today, and I'll pass it over to Capri Maddox.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Soto-Martinez. I appreciate you, I appreciate your leadership, and I appreciate your commitment to all things equity, diversity, and inclusion in the city of Los Angeles. You manage the committee that handles not only civil rights, but disability, immigration, even thinking about aging, etc. So wherever people can be wrong, you are there to make things right. And so we appreciate you, we appreciate your leadership, and thank you for actually walking the talk as it relates to justice in Los Angeles. My name is Capri Maddox. I am the Executive Director and General Manager of the Los Angeles Civil Rights Department. I just want to tell you that for so many years, justice delayed has been justice denied. And I really want to thank the Los Angeles Black Worker Center, as well as IDEPSCA and UCLA Labor for coming together to speak to power and say we need to make sure that we have a department that can fight hate and discrimination on all fronts, on the offensive and defensive. Some of you know we have an award-winning campaign, the Los Angeles is for Everyone campaign, and we celebrate everyone's culture. Whenever there's a Heritage Month, we are out, we are celebrating the cultures of Los Angeles and the beautiful mosaic of Los Angeles. But as we do things on the offensive, we also want to be intentional on the defensive. So to send a message that hate and discrimination have no home in Los Angeles. And Mr. Corey Brown, was a victim of discriminatory practices that happened in the city of Angels. Some people think that some of these wrongs only happen maybe down south, even southern states. But don't let the palm trees fool you. Discrimination happens here in Los Angeles. Even as we see, celebrations of celebrities and, names of people that have lifted a better Los Angeles profile, we want to make sure that we at City Hall, with the support of not only our mayor, but our city council, to lift a better Los Angeles and a Los Angeles for everyone. Today, you know why we're here. Mr. Brown was subjected to discriminatory practices when he went into a local Smart & Final store. There was a bag check policy that was enforced inappropriately. I don't have anything against bag check policies, but they need to be enforced unilaterally and fairly. We want to be intentional to send a message that if you're going to have a bag policy, do not discriminate when you do it. So Mr. Brown walked into a store. He was asked to leave his bag at the front of the store. He took his bag home to avoid any issues. And when he returned to the store, he saw persons that weren't African American. Mr. Brown is African American male. were walking around unaware that there even was a bag policy, and he had the presence of mind to take pictures of folks in the store with the bags that were not subjected to the bag check policy, and came forward, and a community-based organization led him to the Civil Rights Department. And I see him as someone that is standing up for justice and is much a part of this moment as anyone, because we wouldn't be here without his courage and his tenacity to say this is not just another bad day in LA, this is just the way it is. And many of us in this room know that your skin color speaks before you do in America, and even in Los Angeles. And with that, I want to yield the floor to Mr. Brown to tell a little bit about his story. But for persons in the media, I want you to know that Mr. Brown will not be taking questions. We have our leadership team here with Kim Kasrilovich, attorney, and our assistant general manager that will take questions, as well as we may even have questions answered by Jemana Silva Saba, who had the courage to stand up this operation for us in the earliest years. Thank you so much. Mr. Brown, you're our hero. Thank you so much for sharing your story and for being here with us today. Corey Brown.
On September 22nd, 2022, I entered the Smart and Final grocery store just as I had hundreds of times before, and I was stopped and told by the security guard I could not enter the store unless I placed my backpack on the floor at the front of the store. Because I had mail and other personal items in my backpack, I returned home to drop off my bag. When I returned to Smart and Final, a short time later, I saw other patrons, non-African American patrons, who were permitted to keep their bags and backpacks while shopping, not asked to leave their bags or backpacks on the dirty floor at the front of the store. I called the LA Civil Rights Department, and an investigator was assigned to my case. I worked with this investigator over the last year, and if it weren't for his help, Smart and Final would continue to evade responsibility for this inexcusable racial discrimination. All I wanted to do was to get groceries, but I was treated differently than other patrons in the store, all because of the color of my skin. I never deserved this form of discrimination, and I appreciate the LA Civil Rights Department's work to right this wrong.
Thank you so much, Mr. Brown, and thank you for your courage and for making sure that you make sure that we have a Los Angeles that is for everyone. I want to, of course, to tell you that Mr. Brown's story of discriminatory practices, unfortunately, is all too familiar. I've experienced discriminatory practices in stores since as long as I can remember. Even as a child, as a teenager, and when I started to pay attention to these moments, and that's trauma that's affecting folks, and there are people that are listening to this piece that will tell you they dress a certain way when they go to the store. Like they may only go to certain stores right after church or right after work. That's when they go to the store. Or some people even change their clothes or their attire or their appearance before they go to the store. And even people that aren't people of color actually have been treated differently when they are shopping or in public with people of color. And so this is not something that is only impacting certain communities. I want to be clear that this story of discrimination is all too familiar. And the treatment that Mr. Brown received is a direct violation of our civil rights laws, and injustices and inequities in the city of Los Angeles will not be tolerated. They will be held accountable. We will have enforcement, and regardless of how big a company is, we want you to know that we will hold you accountable here at LA Civil Rights. We want to say that this is a Los Angeles for all, and I want to let you know that Los Angeles Civil Rights Department wants to assist anyone that feels that they've been discriminated in the areas of commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you feel that you've been discriminated against, you can reach us at LA is for Everyone or LAcivilRightsClaim.com, LAcivilRightsClaim.com. You can also contact us by 311, or you can come down to our offices at 201 North Los Angeles Street in the city of Los Angeles, down in the LA Mall, suite number 6. And for the last thing, I want you to know you can call me. You can call us at 213-978-1845. And with that, I want to tell everyone that's out there to keep the faith, keep the fight, because LA Civil Rights and the city of Los Angeles is here for you. Thank you.
Do you have a location of the store?
Yes, it is the Smart and Final located on Figueroa Street. Let me see what the, I don't think I have the actual address here. Kim, do you have the address?
Right across the street.
Yeah, 845 South Figueroa in the downtown area. It's not too far from here.
I have a quick question for you, Capri. You talk about how Mr. Brown's story is all too familiar with regard to discrimination. Los Angeles is a very big city. How is it this is the first notice of violation with regard to a civil rights violation?
I'm so glad you asked that question. People don't know we exist, and we've spent money in print media, and we really, we know in Los Angeles there are billboards and there are TV ads for lawyers day and night. But unfortunately, the city of Los Angeles doesn't have those resources to let people know how they've been wronged. And so I encourage folks, whenever they hear a lawyer ad, to know that we are lawyers here in the city of Los Angeles that are prepared to fight for them if they've been discriminated against in commerce, education, employment, and housing. And I want to be clear that commerce is tied to businesses.
Yeah, and
just
kind
for the general public.
Piggybacking off that question though, you said there are some other cases that you're investigating. Can you touch on any of those? And then also, what is the enforcement method here? Is the city attorney writing these violations?
They actually happen. We have a commission. We have commissioners that are, the lead of our commission is actually Abigail Zielinski. We have a commission that will give us permission to do the notice of violation, and then there is an administrative law process that happens. I'm a former city attorney, and the city attorneys actually help us to make sure that our ordinance is proper, but the Civil Rights Department lawyers will handle the case, and the lawyer that will handle this case is Kim Kasreliovich, who joined our department from the Attorney General's office.
So it is the LA Civil Rights Department's lawyers that are the ones that
Yes.
Do the notice of violation
Yes.
to any, whether it's a business or
Yes.
a homeowner or landlord.
The other side of that question though, can you maybe talk about some of the other cases that are pending or some of the other investigations?
Right, and I'll just give you a general overview that we have a number of discrimination claims that have been happening that we are investigating, and some of them involve security guards being too aggressive to people of color. We have some housing cases as well. Some people have been wronged based on their immigration status, et cetera. So, and the other thing that I want to share is we actually do not have the jurisdiction authority that I would like us to have. A lot of the jurisdiction in those spaces of housing and employment are tied to the state. So California Civil Rights has the jurisdiction of a lot of the complaints that we actually receive, and we pass them on, give them a warm handoff. But we would like to have more jurisdiction because we are ready to go. We have a team of 5 investigators and an amazing work ethic and cadence that we want to right some of these wrongs. I also want to acknowledge Pepperdine School of Law that handles our mediation cases for us for no cost to the city of Los Angeles. It's my beloved alma mater, and they are kind enough to make sure that the mediation cases are handled in those spaces. To date, 20 cases have been handled and mediated by Pepperdine School of Law. The other cases that I wanted to tell you that some of the other complaints we may get are related to people's ages, their private institutions, age and race as it relates to private colleges, universities, or even some of our independent schools that are, for K through 12 students. So those are other spaces where we have investigations pending.
So is it 28 total that have come forward? You said 28 cases?
20 cases.
20 cases.
20 cases that Pepperdine School of Law has mediated for us.
Like, you can come to a settlement?
Yes.
Is that kind of, okay.
Okay.
Can we talk to the attorney handling the matter that we're here for?
Sure. Sure, Kim come forward.
Kim?
And just for the record, I'm a licensed attorney as well.
Well, that's great. You said she was handling, so
I am handling, I will tell you, particularly the Smart and Final case, I want to note that we brought the cases against both the independent security company that contracted with Smart and Final. They have agreed to settle this matter. In principle, we have an agreement at this point. They really believe in being proactive in this. Nonstop Security wants to be a leader in the security space because we know security guards are out there everywhere doing the dirty work. As to the Smart and Final case, it is considered pending litigation at this point, so I will take questions, but I may not answer them.
What kind of I'm guessing they're not settling or agreeing to the citation, so what kind of pushback are you getting from Smart and Final?
At this point in time, like I said, it's an active litigation case, so we're in discussion.
what was wrong in this case? Where is the discrimination?
Well, as Mr. Brown expressed, he entered the store and was treated differently than other patrons of the same race. So a policy that the store had and imposed, they did not impose equally to all the patrons. They have imposed it and applied it differently to Mr. Brown based on his race.
Did you also offer Smart and Final the lower, because I know the security company settled for less than $10,000, right, of a fine?
The notices of violation are public record. The initial amount that was assessed to the security company was $5,000. The amount assessed to Smart and Final is $10,000. But like I said, that case is still active.
What did the security company end up paying? Because they said a lesser amount.
It is a settlement in principle only at this point, so the details will not be public until it's finalized and approved by the Civil Rights Commission.
Why the difference in the amount?
In our assessment and based on the facts of each case, a different amount may be appropriate to each actor depending on numerous factors, including the type of violation that occurred, the harm to someone who may have perpetrated or caused that harm, as well as the size of the companies that we might be dealing with. We don't want to put business out of business in Los Angeles. We want to encourage people to correct their wrongs. So we are very mindful that we don't punish anyone to the extent that they're not able to operate a business.
Is there another civil case against Smart and Final in representing of Mr. Brown?
So, what do you mean, another civil case?
Yeah, is he also pursuing a case against Smart and Final?
I can only speak for the Civil Rights Department, and we have our pending administrative matter. Anyone who brings a case to our department is free to seek other remedies, including civil cases.
Has anybody else come forward though with this allegation against this Smart Final location?
We can't comment on any pending investigations.
Just to confirm, this department, the services are free to the community and anybody can access it regardless of their legal status?
Absolutely, services are 100% free, no cost to the individual who comes to us. A portion of the fines and fees we collect go back to the complainant who brought the case to us, and we will help anyone who comes to us regardless of immigration or legal status.
Can we get your first, last name, spelling, and pronunciation, please?
Yeah. First name Kim, K-I-M. Last name, it's really long, K-A-S-R-E-L-I-O. V as in Victor, I-C-H, Kasreliovich.
And you're an attorney with the LA Civil Rights Department?
Correct.
And her name is in the press release that I have for everybody who's here.
I just wanted her to say it.
Yeah, okay.
Are there other local departments like your Civil Rights Department?
Not on the local level. We do have California Civil Rights, and there's also the EEOC on the federal level.
So other cities across the country, or is this the first?
No, excuse me, we do have others in other jurisdictions. And by the way, New York has been doing this probably since like the 1950s. So they've been in a position, I know it's been several decades that the city of New York has had an enforcement arm. So we're not the first, But we are the first here to do this in Los Angeles, and this is a new department created in 2020.
And so again, Smart and Final's facing a $10,000 fine.
Yes, they
as a
are.
result of this.
Yes.
And just to clarify, so there have been 20 claims that were mediated by Pepperdine and
Yes.
handled.
Yes.
This is the first one that has gone to the
Notice of
extent-
violation stage. Yes.
Violation stage, okay.
Notice of violation.